Okay, I've been at Auburn for 7 years now. Experienced some very good times, a few rough times. The last two losses, I can honestly say, have probably hurt me worse than any of the others. I fully understand our fan base is disappointed, and they should be. Bottom line is we got to coach our players better, and that starts with me. The fact is we're close. As a matter of fact, we're real close to being a good team, and we're going to get this thing turned around. LSU is up next, one of the better teams in the country. Defense have 8 starters back. They're averaging 16 points a game, which is in the top 20. Offensively, 9 starters back. It really starts with their running back, Fournette, one of the best players in America. Got the best of us last year. We're going to have to do a good job of tackling him. As far as our team's concerned, Sean White is going to be our starter. John Franklin will be available if needed, but we're going to go with Sean White, and we're confident with that. Questions?
After leaving that open for evaluation, Gus, why stick with Sean? Choose to stick with Sean again?
Well, we feel like he gives us the best chance of winning, and we got to be better around him. We got to put him in better situations from a coach's standpoint to help him, and that's the reason.
After looking at tape, how did you see the play of the offensive line? Do you plan on making any changes?
After watching the tape, I thought our offensive line did a solid job. Really what stood out to me Saturday night was the negative plays. They were mess charging from a defensive end standpoint, which they had never done before. We didn't do a good enough job from a offensive coach's standpoint about adjusting quick enough. I think they had 4 negative plays through mess charge. We got to do a better job of making adjustments quicker. So it looked like the offensive line wasn't doing their job, and really it was a coaching adjustment that should have been made earlier. And like I said, they had never done that before, but the bottom line is we got to adjust better.
Coach, do you ever worry at all about a rift or friction developing between the offensive and defensive groups?
From a team leader standpoint, my job is to make sure that our players are all on the same page. We got an extremely close group. We have great leadership, which helps with that, and there'll be no friction within this team. Like I said, the big thing for me is our players are playing their guts out. They're playing hard. We got to coach them better, and that starts with me, and that's what's going to get done. Like I said earlier, we're close, and when you really look at everything, we played 2 very good teams, had opportunities. We got to take that next step, and we're going to get this thing turned around. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and we're going to get this thing going.
Gus, when you say mass charging, can you?
Yeah, defensive end just running straight up field at the midline of the running back and the quarterback mesh, which we hadn't seen any of that until this year, other than Jacksonville State last year. And like I said, we just got to make better adjustments. I mean, defensive guys, when something works, they're all going to do it. And I don't care if you're a guy that's been in the league 20 years and you've never done it. That's just the way it works. And so just charging the mesh of the quarterback and the running back and those negative plays, if you take out the 4 negative plays, you feel a little bit better, about the performance, and we would have had a better likelihood of scoring points.
Well, the mesh charge, that happened on the first play of the game.
It did.
That was one of them.
It did.
Did you identify the need to change the blocking on that, or did
Well, what you do is you're gathering information in the first quarter, and you're trying to figure out, is that just one side, is that just one play? So you're gathering information, and by the end of the first quarter, you need to have it down.
But they blew you up in the fourth quarter. On
They did.
3.
They did on the 4th down. Yeah.
Was that a missed block, or was that?
No, that was a missed call.
You said during the game on the telecast that running was such a key point for you, and that was a key point this whole offseason. When running was a big part of the game plan, for instance, last season against Arkansas, and you utilized Robert Leff as the 6th lineman blocking tight end, why was that not part of the game plan at all this past week? When, especially after the mesh charging, after that, why wasn't Darius James or Mike Gordon used as a 6th lineman in that spot?
We have different packages. Each year is a little bit different too, as far as your personnel and how you feel about that. We'll see moving forward. Obviously, we're going to have some different strategies moving forward to help with that. And that could be a part of it. I'm not going to incriminate what we're doing moving forward, but, you know, we will definitely have some different things that could help with that.
Yes, Aranda said after the bowl game when he was at Wisconsin, that they were able to narrow down greatly what y'all were gonna do based on the personnel on the field. And you're facing them again this time. Is that a concern about the substitution?
You know, I think each time you play against someone, you've got to look at what they were successful with, and you've got to adjust from a coach's standpoint and to put your guys in the best situation possible, you know, as far as whether it's personnel, whether it's down and distance, whether it's alignments. You know, you've got to do your homework, and you've got to be thinking ahead what they're thinking about.
Coach, looking at LSU defense specifically, what concerns you, what are one or two areas that really concern you?
Well, you know, I think their team speed, when you watch them on film, the first thing that stands out to you is their defensive team speed. They all can run. Like I said, they got a lot of guys back, a whole lot of guys, 8 starters back, and they were very solid on defense last year, top 25 defense. So they can all run.
How are you approaching, defending Leonard Fournette after he had such a huge game last season?
Yeah, I mean,
Is there any kind of a different approach?
yeah, I mean, you know, we're a different team, you know, than we were last year. We're a different defense, but he's one of the best players in college football, and if he gets to the second level, that's when he's extremely tough to handle. And last year he got the second level on us, and we didn't tackle him. And so obviously with a guy like that, you got a team tackle, you got a gang tackle, but a big part of that is not letting him get the second level, and that'll be a big challenge, you know, for us.
Are you guys kind of like looking for a little bit of redemption after last season? I know, we asked Carlton Davis, he said that they were just embarrassed last season.
Yeah, you know, I think each individual player, you know, in the defensive side, you know, they want to redeem themselves, and you know, it's a big challenge. They got 9 of their guys back on offense, so you know that'll be a big part of the game. Stopping the run, they're going to run the football, and stopping the run will be a big part of the game, and will be a key to the outcome.
What's been the difference in their offense since they changed quarterbacks?
You know, it looks like rhythm. You know, it looks like rhythm. You know, I think both quarterbacks are very solid quarterbacks. They're a little bit different, but it looks like rhythm.
32 of your offensive plays have been hit for negative yardage.
Yeah.
It's dead last in the country, and Urban's offensive line have been in the triple digits as far as plays like that for the last 6-7 years. What are your concerns up front, and what are you going to do about fixing that going
Yeah,
forward?
and now that you brought that up, you're exactly right. That's really the number one focus from the offensive staff standpoint is the negative plays, getting behind the chains. Like I said, a lot of that Saturday was on the mesh charge, and we got to do a better job adjusting quicker. First game, there was a few of that same type situations, you know, but our offensive line, just looking at it from Saturday, we're improving. We're going to have to play well this week, but I'm not going to blame all that on the offensive line.
Do you foresee any changes, whether it's philosophical, the way you're coaching, or even on?
Well, you know, I think, you know, a big thing is you evaluate things when you're struggling, you're not being as good as you can. You've got to evaluate things. You've got to figure out what's not working, and you got to figure out a way what is working. You got to, you know, you've got to build upon those things. And the negative plays, that's probably the number one focus right now, to stay out of the negative plays, get us in some third down and shorts other than 3rd and 11 plus. I think we've had either 11 or 12 third down 11 plus, and I don't care who you're playing. You get in those situations, it makes it tough, and it really is the main reason we're behind the chains. So really the number one thing from an offensive staff standpoint that they're focusing on is the no negative plays, like you said.
Obviously, a lot of things change in the fourth quarter, especially when a team's got a big lead with A&M's defense. But when Franklin was in there, you guys averaged, I think, 6.1 yards per play. It was the best quarter you guys had since that first quarter. At what point do you feel like that you've got to implement him more?
Point. All those things are being evaluated. You know, and each game unfolds a little bit different. Each game is a little bit different. Maybe in the fourth quarter they're playing more looser or I mean, so it's just different. It's not just as easy as that, just watching it. But at the same time, you know, your offensive personnel, you know, you've got to play to your strengths, And, you know, we got 3 games under our belt to know what we have. We know what our strengths are, try to stay away from some things. And so that's part of coaching.
Going back to protection of negative plays, guys, how important is that this week? Not only because it's LSU, but because you're dealing with Arden Key and what he brings to the table is the SEC's leading sacker and probably one of the best pass rushers in the country.
Yeah, well, he's a factor. You got to know where he's at. When he knows it's pass, you know, he's a factor. He was a factor last year against us, a true freshman. So we definitely have to be aware of him. And like I said, it kind of goes back to what you know, he asked me about negative plays, and that's part of the staying out of the negative plays.
What makes him unique compared to a Garrett or Hall who you just put?
You know, him and Garrett, they're 2 of the best in the country. You know, that's what makes them unique. I think their skill set and their explosiveness, their length, and their talent.
Do you feel like there's a price to be paid in a way for removing Sean in the fourth quarter in a close game, in that it hurts his confidence kind of and it undermines his leadership?
You know, from a coach's standpoint, you got to take all that in. And like I said, the big thing is we felt like we needed a shot in the arm, and we were completely honest that, hey, this is what we're thinking. This is why we did it. And each game unfolds differently. And really, at that time, I felt like we needed a shot in the arm. And it did give us some type of shot in the arm. So, you know, that's just part of coaching. You make decisions like that you feel like at the time's the best situation for your team. And that was what we felt like at the time.
With the number 2 concern as an offensive staff being how to create more explosive plays in the passing game, and I guess does fixing the offensive troubles kind of playing, or the offensive line troubles kind of playing into that, maybe helping create more?
You know, I really think the explosive plays have more to do with opportunities. You know, we got to give our guys more opportunities for the explosive plays, specifically throwing the ball down the field. And each game is a little different as far as, you know, what you're going against and your personnel. But we got to give our guys more opportunities.
You said these last 2 games have been the most disappointing of your career here. Would you say
Combined, yeah.
Would you say this is the biggest game of your career this weekend?
Well, I look at it each game as the biggest game every time we coach against someone, and the urgency that we need to get over that hump. And like I said, we're close, and we're very close. And so it's a big game. There's no doubt.
Gus, in that second drive on the touchdown in particular, you guys really were able to take advantage of them having Garrett and Hall both out and one pace and everything. What gives you confidence you can do that when elite pass rushers are in the game, specifically Key coming up? Because when Garrett and Hall were out there, obviously you guys struggled with protection with the negative plays. What gives you confidence that you can do that when Key's going to be out there this week?
Well, I mean, that's what you do as a coach. You try to put your guys in the best situation possible. You know, their personnel, you got to be aware of it. But, you know, that's just part of coaching.
With Kevin Steele having a lot of knowledge about their personnel and Damian having a lot of knowledge about yours, does that have any factor?
You know, I think you got to be aware of it. But at the end of the day, when they put the ball down, you guys got to make plays and you got to execute and all that. But, you know, both teams are going to be familiar with each other.
Your final snap of the game, in the A&M game, was a 4th and long, and Franklin just ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
5 yards short of the marker. I mean, that's not a Malzahn type of situation there. I mean, you don't coach him to do that. How frustrated were you with that decision?
You know, he'll learn from it, and he won't do it again. And, you know, that's probably the best way to answer that.
Did that hurt his candidacy to get that job?
You know, he's, like I've said before, I mean, he's learning the offense. Every time that he goes out there, we learn more about him. He is explosive, like everybody can see, and just needs to feel more comfortable. But no, we won't be running out of bounds anymore on 4th down.
How's he more comfortable throwing football these last 3 weeks?
You know, I thought he threw the ball pretty well when he went in there. You know, we had a drop down the middle of the field, but I thought he threw the ball pretty well.
Coach, when you are close, but it's not necessarily manifesting itself in the final score, how do you ensure that the kids see the bigger picture that's taking place?
Yeah, well, you know, as the leader, you've got to inspire them. You've got to keep them together. That they know we're close. I mean, players know. Players know. I mean, that you're in a game, you have opportunities like last game in the 3rd quarter. You know, I think our defense had 3 and outs. We had opportunities on the plus side of the field, and we didn't score. Well, your players know that you're close, and just need to take that next step, and we will do that, and I'm very confident we'll do that.
Gus, you've talked about Sean's confidence and in the offense, and his experience continues to grow. Does he feel comfortable in your mind to kind of get out of plays, when he kind of looks at the sideline and then goes, no, that's not going to work? Does he have the ability and the authority to kind of do that?
You know, on certain plays, he does, and he is getting to a point where, he can take charge a little bit more, and we as coaches, we need to give him a little more freedom, and that's part of the plan moving forward too. And like I said, we got to put him in some better situations also.
In a sense of saying, hey, I'm going to need more time on this play, and just kind of changing it up front. That's kind of something he's able to do.
That's a possibility. Yeah, that's a
Gus,
possibility.
talking about putting him in better situations, I mean, obviously his skill set's different with
Yeah.
throwing the football. How important is it to get him into a rhythm throwing the football, first down throws, do some of those things different that you might not do with other guys?
Yeah, I think it's very important, and we got confidence in him to do that. And like I said, we had a couple of negative plays trying to throw the ball on first down because of the mesh charge, trying to get him in a rhythm. But there's no doubt, when he gets in a rhythm, he's a very solid quarterback.
Tre'Davious White is off to a pretty incredible start as far as passing against him, he's one of the best cover corners in the country. How do you try to prevent him from wiping out basically half the field, maybe number one receiver?
Yeah, you got to be aware of where he's at, because you're exactly right. He is one of the best in the country. He's a real confident guy. He's got great ball skills. He's their punt returner. He's just a really good football player, and you got to be aware of where he's at. And they move him around. They do a good job of moving him around. He doesn't line up just in one spot all the time.
You said in your opening statement how aware you were of how angry, the
Yeah.
fans. How much do you isolate yourself from that, and how much do you kind of feel their pain?
I definitely feel their pain, first of all. I know the Auburn family. I know their expectations. I don't read social media. I just know. And they expect us to play good football, and I hurt too. As a matter of fact, like I said, we got to do a better job. I got to do a better job, and we're going to.
Gus, I asked you this after the Clemson game, but I guess I've got to repeat myself. Is Herb going to be upstairs this week, or is that something you're considering?
Yeah, we're consistent. He is going to be upstairs, the eye in the sky, and that's where
You're
he'll be.
happy with that communication still after 3 weeks?
Well, as far as the communication from Herb goes downstairs,
Right.
I am. I mean, obviously, when you're not doing as well, you evaluate everything. And from a coach's standpoint, how can we improve? How can we give our guys the best chance of winning? And so, we're definitely evaluating that. And there'll be some changes of different things to help our guys and to help the overall offense.
Will there be any personnel changes, guys?
I don't want to get into stuff like that playing an opponent, but we're trying to improve in every area.
What's the current development plan for Woody Barrett? I mean, is he scout team or
Yeah, he's with us. He's getting reps in practice. He showed up late. We didn't get him until late July. He had an ankle injury during a scrimmage and put him back about 2 weeks. But, we're working with him and trying to get him caught up. He's a talented young man, but he just needs some extra work.
I'd say that 20-plus years you've been coaching, you've never been through a situation like this where you're not having the success you want, you're hearing a lot of outside negativity. How are you dealing with that really for the first time in your career?
Well, as a leader, you've got to correct the things that aren't going good, and that's my job. And that's the only thing on my mind.
Especially you faced against other staffers, offensively, defensively, before in your career. You haven't played a former member of your offensive staff here until this week with Damian. Just what's kind of the unique challenge here, and what did he bring to your staff while he was here?
You just got to be aware that they know certain things, and you got to do everything you can to help your team be successful.
Coach, you said numerous times that you're close, the team is close. What makes you believe that? Like, is it what you're seeing in game, what you're seeing in practice? What makes you believe
Well,
that?
I think when you look at the first game, we had an opportunity to win that game, and like I said, that next week, we just didn't put points on the board when we had opportunities late in the game, so we were close. You know, we played solid football week 2, and even though the score didn't dictate it, I think everybody saw in the third quarter we had opportunities to take the lead in the third quarter. So that's what I mean by close. And then, you know, that's probably why it hurts as much as it does, because, you know, from a coach's standpoint, you know, you gotta find a way to get your team over that hump. So that's what I mean by close, which is very factual. And it's encouraging when you can take away the hurt. And that's what I'm doing. And we're putting the hurt behind us. We left that on Sunday. We're moving forward to LSU, one of the best teams in college football. They're playing our place. We need to play well. Our guys have put that behind, and we are close.
How do you feel about your play call through 3 games?
Hadn't been very good. I mean, it's got to be better. It's got to be better, and it will get better.
Is that game planning or is it adjustments in
I
game?
think it's all the above.
Gus, when did you become aware of the accusation and investigation into Leonard Rice?
Yeah, I've already answered the questions I want to answer regarding Landon.
You can't, why did you let him stick around the program in August after he was accused of law enforcement?
Yeah, I've already answered that.